Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown and Dunkirk, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives.
Is getting vaccinated on your to-do list? We can help you check it off because we make getting vaccinated easy. You've got this because we've got you. To learn more, visit yougotthis.usaging.org.
From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
It was, but somebody was swimming somewhere. Hey everybody, welcome to Chautauqua Sunrise. I'm Doc Hamels and glad you could join us. Well, sort of a gray, sleepy morning, isn't it? It's not too much of a sunrise, but we've been spoiled this summer. It's really been quite a nice summer. Hot and dry, but still it beats mosquitoes and lots of rain and mud. Well, good morning and good afternoon wherever you are throughout the world. I want to always remind you that we are streaming live, and we always love to see notes from you, or at least a like, and know that somebody's watching us out there. Oh, gosh. Throughout the show, since we're live, you can give us a call, okay? And we've got some nice topics we're going to be discussing today. My guests are waiting in the wings to come on. But if you do have a question or a comment, 716-753-5225. And if your club or organization's having a fundraiser, you have an announcement of some sort or another that fits what we do here, write to me at Chautauqua Sunrise, all one word, at gmail.com. Glad to get your announcements on. And as you know, in the beginning of the show, I usually cover a number of community events and things that are going on. Okay? So don't be shy. And if you do call in today, Randy Burt's going to be on the other line, and he'll be ready to talk with you and get you on the air or write down your message. Okay? Thanks. I want to say good afternoon to all my listeners on WRFA 107.9, Low Power to the People out of Jamestown. We were just discussing earlier our great relationship with the radio station, and my friend Dennis Drew and I had a handshake agreement years ago, and it's been a great relationship, and so we always thank you for airing what we talk about here on this side of the world, because everything we say here goes for the other side of the world and all over our county. So we're all one, and we just want to be able to share that information. And so thanks, guys, for having us every single Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Well, I went to the bank yesterday, the credit union, and I said, well, have a nice weekend. They said, well, have a nice holiday. I go, what holiday? Woo! When you're retired, you kind of lose track of things. I said, what holiday goes Labor Day week? And I go, are you kidding me? I thought it was next weekend. Anyways, it's Labor Day weekend, and welcome to Chautauqua County if you're visiting, especially our friends over Chautauqua Institution that come in for the series of lectures and events. I understand they've had a pretty good season. If you're here for fishing or kayaking or visiting friends, just be careful this weekend, please. If you're going to partake of the alcoholic beverages and that, make sure you have a designated driver. Watch for farm equipment that's crossing roads and everything else. This is a busy county, okay? But anyways, happy Labor Day weekend, and it's the last day of August, Justin. How is that possible? I remember coming back from our trip, and it was still like the middle of June, and here we are at the end of August. So I don't know. But you know what that means. If it's the end of August, fall is coming soon, and I get to get my hair cut. I get my hair cut 4 times a year on the change of the season. What are you laughing about? It's true. You ask my wife. She goes, oh, you got to get your hair cut. I go, no, it's not fall yet. I would prefer to have long hair. My wife would prefer me not. So I'm kind of surrounded by cosmetologists in my family. Okay, a few things to also say to you. Karen Cockram, if you're watching over in Kenya, she was on the show not too long ago, and I promised that I'd do a shout out to Karen and all her little friends over there. And I mean little because they're only about yay big. They're just swarming her, having a great time. I've been watching her trip over, her volunteer work, working with the kiddos over there, and her friend James, I guess that's her go-to person over there. So good morning, and if you're watching, leave us a note, and then we will put a pin on the map. Also want to do a shout out to our friends over in Ukraine, especially Natalia and company. I know you watch the show every week, so you know I'm always thinking of you guys, and so are we over here on this side of the world. So hang in there, and hopefully, I say this every week it seems, there'll be some quick resolution, but it's sad to see what's going on. Going locally, I have a little note here that the Ripley Library in Ripley, New York, my hometown, is having a baked goods sale today from 9 to 2. So if you are interested in baked goods sales, go to Ripley. They're having a little fundraiser. All right, we have a few announcements, and then I'm going to get to my first guest, who's anxiously waiting to get on. I'll be right with you. And so let's go with slide 15. My friends over at Infinity Visual and Performing Arts announces Mugshots. We got a picture on that? There we go. It's an exhibition at the Pearl City Clay House. We've talked about this before. It's a unique exhibition of their Pearl City Clay House satellite location. This engaging showcase running from September 7th to the 29th will highlight the artistry and craftsmanship behind drinking vessels, featuring works handcrafted by talented Pearl City studio members. Okay, the exhibition will include creations from a diverse group of artists, including, oh boy, here we go. There's a lot of people. I can't say all their names right now, but there's like 15 people there from all over the county. And Mugshots will kick off an opening reception on September 7th from 6 to 8 p.m. The community is invited, of course, to meet the artists, explore their work, and participate in a special one-night-only silent auction for a chance to take home their favorite pieces. Hey, that's pretty cool. Members over there and participating artist Wendy Bale expressed her excitement, saying, quote, "I'm so happy Pearl City Clay House is hosting our first member show. This has been a fun theme to work on, and we cannot wait to show the community all the creative approaches this talented group of people has come up with." And speaking of art and so forth, I believe this weekend is there's an art trail throughout the Chautauqua County, and you'll see signs for that. So I think there usually is like about 20, 21 different artists throughout from one end of the county to the other, and you'll see signs for the art trail, and it's this weekend, I'm almost positive. So check that out. Okay, let's go to the next one. It says mobile health clinic. Walk-in clinics being held at various locations around the county. Free immunizations, Narcan, STD education, condoms, breastfeeding support, child development, and blood pressure screenings. The mobile vehicle services as an extension of our health department, bringing essential health services directly to the community. And it's going to be held September 5 in Dunkirk, 10 a.m. at Save a Lot parking lot. Then on September 10 and 12, once again in Dunkirk, but this time at the Dunkirk High School parking lot. And then same time, same dates, on September 10 and 12, Jamestown Mobile Health Clinic at Love School. Then, hang on, these look like a repeat. Then on September 24th and 25th and 26th, so 24th through the 26th. Okay. And then on those dates, at 10 a.m., the Jamestown Mobile Clinic will be at Love School. Then there will be one at the Salvation Army Food Express. And then it goes to Brockton at 11:30 at the Brockton Food Pantry. And then finally, October 3, the Dunkirk Mobile Health Clinic will be at Save-A-Lot parking lot again. So this is awesome because I know I've said in enough committees and organizations that one of the biggest issues is trying to get healthcare supplies and materials, information to people out in different parts of the county and people that have trouble with transportation. So this is terrific. So I'm glad to see that there's some mobile health clinics coming your way. Okay, slide 17. Okay, we got a slide for that. Okay, city officials and members of Refresco's leadership team gathered with market vendors for a ribbon cutting ceremony to celebrate the official opening of the recently completed Dunkirk Farmers Market Agrarian Pavilion Complex. Woo, that's a mouthful. The new pavilion structure was made possible through a grant from the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets New York State Farmers Market Resiliency Grant Program. That's hard to say fast in the morning. The reason why I always like to talk about this is because we talk about all the great farmers markets and artisan markets that are going on right this minute in Jamestown and at least Westfield. Those two I do know. And I know there's one in Fredonia, there's one in Mayville and so forth, Silver Creek. So while grant funds help support the bulk of the project, some additional funding was needed to complete the project, and Refresco stepped right in to provide their support. Refresco's support for our community and our local farmers as the perennial title sponsor of our Dunkirk Farmers Market, in addition to their financial support for our new market pavilion, further highlights their commitment to promote local agriculture, provide a vibrant community gathering space, and ensure access to fresh, healthy foods for all residents, said Mayor Kate. We are thankful to have partners like Refresco who recognize the value of the farmers market. Okay, the market continues every Wednesday through October 9 from 9 to 2. That seems to be a common time. And it's outside the Dunkirk Senior Center and 45 Cliff Star Court. And let's see. So that's another great farmers market. All right, let's keep going. Let's go to Mayville, just down the road. Okay, the third family movie night in Mayville, sponsored by She Sings Cafe Restaurant and Bar, is going to be held Saturday, September 14th. Tell me there isn't enough to do in Chautauqua County. We cordially, this is them talking, invite you to join them for the third and final movie in Mayville for the 2024 season. The movies are hosted by a new community-based not-for-profit, Inspire Good of Western New York, Inc., but have been made possible by the generous local business owners and sponsors. For this final movie, they'll be watching a 2023 family-friendly animated movie called Mummies, as in not daddies, but the guys that you wrap up with cloth, and bury in the ground. And it will be held at Lakeside Park at dusk. That's always fun. The movies have been free thanks to the sponsorships. This movie has been fully sponsored by She Sings Cafe, Restaurant, and Bar. How cool is that? All right. So She Sings owner Rebecca Magnuson will be joining them on site before the movie and will be singing from 7 to 8 p.m. as part of the Village of Mayville's first annual community picnic. How cool is that? Okay, so that again is September 14th, starting at 7, looks like. All right, then last thing I got here is Heritage Festival slated in Dunkirk. The city of Dunkirk will host the Dunkirk Heritage Festival today, August 31. Ooh, I hope it doesn't rain then. From 11 a.m. till 9 o'clock tonight, over on Lakeshore Drive East in the grassy lot between Clarion Hotel and Tim Hortons. Oh, I know where that is. Sponsored by Special Metals, DFT Communications, and the cultural event will have live music, food trucks, beverages with $3 canned beers, and a few vendors. they're doing crazy things up there. They're crazy in the fact that they're doing so much stuff crazy, and lots of bands, lots of music, lots of food. They're just bursting at the seams up there. The musical lineup, which has been recently updated, includes the New Direction Band, the 11 to 2, the Turbulence from 2:30 to 4:30, and then the headliner Familiar Spirit Band from 5 p.m. to 7:15, and then DJ 7:15 to 9:15. Representing the food and craft segments are Arlie and Izzy's, The Best of Buffalo by Byron. He's been around all over the place. Whimsy and Sparkle Handmade Jewelry, Nalepa's Novelties, Jamestown Community College, Absolute Care of Westfield, Dunkirk Historical Society, and Health Research Incorporated out of Roswell Park. Okay, so that's going on today starting at 11 a.m. So finish watching the show, check the weather, get in the car, and you can go there or any place else in the county. Now, I have a special pleasure to welcome back to the show, but in a different capacity today, my friend Don McCord, who's going to talk to us about something really cool that's going to be going on next weekend, and we've been talking about it here last couple of weeks. So Don, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Don.
Absolutely. So what's going on next week?
So next weekend, September 7th and 8th, we will be doing a Grape and Wine Festival in Westfield. It's our second annual, so we have expanded it. It's going to have a grape pie eating contest.
Grape pie?
Yes.
So you get like purple all over?
Oh, well, purple nose is a risk of doing this activity.
I can just see my beard all purple. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. We'll also have, for local bakers, we'll be having a grape pie baking contest in amongst the local bakers. We will have bounce houses, we will have wine tents, and we actually have 7 bands across the 2 days that are performing, including the Probables, which will be our
Very
Saturday
good.
night.
Probables are friends of mine.
Are they?
Yep, Adam McKellop, Steve Johnson, those guys. Yeah, they're super good.
They are. We're excited that they're willing to come on Saturday night and be part of the festival.
Yeah.
So it's we also will be running a trolley in between the park in the middle of town and the Grape Discovery Center.
For people that maybe aren't familiar with either location, so where are the locations?
The park is at 20 East Main, if you put it in your GPS.
Right at the
right at
corners,
the corner of
basically.
394 and Route 20 in the middle of the village. And the Grape Discovery Center is at 8305 West Main.
So if you're heading towards Ripley or Erie, it's on 20 on the left?
On the left, about half mile out of the village.
Yeah, okay, very good.
So
what was the idea behind this? I mean, why a grape and wine festival?
Well, Westfield has always been known as the grape capital of the world, mostly because of our history with the Welch Foods Company and them settling there, and we were the original thing. But, Chautauqua County and Westfield have a long history of grapes. It's a big part of our heritage.
Huge.
And so I can remember when I first came to the area, the whole community got involved, whether it was in the spring with grape tying. Kids would get out of school.
My wife tells me all about it when they tie grapes when they were kids.
So everybody had a role to play in both growing the grapes and harvesting the grapes. The whole community came together. Yeah. The grape community has evolved a little bit. We're a little more mechanized now, but the community still comes together. And this is just a way to honor that. And we have also evolved because we now have many more wineries and craft beverage facilities than we did back then. So we were just integrating the two, how that's evolved, and trying to honor that heritage of our community and bring everybody together for this event.
So if I were to go to the Grape and Wine Festival next week, and it's on Saturday and Sunday?
Saturday and Sunday.
So where do I park? That's always a question people will ask.
Well, we do have a parking lot down below, the old Welch parking lot. We have 106 spaces there. We have parking behind the stores. We have parking on Elm Street. And then we do have parking around the village.
Okay. But you said also that if you want to go to the Grape Discovery Center, you don't need to drive there. You just hop the trolley.
That's right. Just hop on the trolley and we'll give you a free ride back and forth all day.
So if I remember right, the Grape Discovery Center was to talk about all things grape in the area, right?
Yes.
So why would someone want to even go there? What would they see?
Well, a couple of things that they would see out there, you have an opportunity to actually take a tour of the vineyards.
Oh.
And we have narrators on the tours that will explain how the harvest occurs, how
Nice.
grapes are grown. Inside the Grape Discovery Center itself, they have displays that talk about the history of the grapes. And they do have a beautiful shop there that has grape memorabilia in it. And we have wine tasting and other things at
Great.
the center.
You know, a lot of people don't know this, but I had the honor and distinction to be at the grand opening, and I actually played music for it. And because I donated my time, my name ended up on the plaque with
wow.
all the other donors. And it's like every time I take some of my grandkids there, I go, see anybody on there? You know, I go, wow, your name's there. But you know, but that's the whole thing. Is it was a community all gathering together to promote that whole project, and our Rotary Club was very involved at the time, and the Steve Barron patio out there and so forth. So, all right, so it's like two locations, which sounds cool because it's all connected.
Right.
All right, so that's the Great Discovery Center. Now, on the grounds of the park, you said you're going to have some tents or something like this.
This is a rain or shine event. We are setting it up because, as anybody that's participated in the grape harvest knows, we have good days and we have wet days. So
and snow days.
And you can't predict that. So trying to be prepared.
Right.
We have set up large tents for every one of the things. We have a grape event tent where the grape pie contest will go on, and the grape pie eating contest and grape stomping will all occur.
Great.
We also will have a pie baking workshop.
Oh.
And for those folks that may not be that familiar with wine, we have a wine tasting workshop.
Very nice.
So we've brought in a lot of people from a lot of different aspects of the community, and we have a separate wine tasting tent, as well as a food tent, and as well as another music tent. So we are
Wow. Okay,
pretty
so
well
what are the
prepared.
times for Saturday and Sunday?
On Saturday, the event will kick off at 10 a.m.
Okay.
We will go through the day and the headline concerts from 6 to 8 that evening.
Okay.
On Sunday, it will be from 11 to 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to do grape stomping at all?
Yes, grape stomping will be on both days.
Okay.
Yeah.
I keep thinking of when I was a kid watching Lucille Ball. You know, we all have that vision of her. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Don, I wish you great success with your second annual Grape and Wine Festival. And unfortunately, I couldn't MC it because we'll be out of the area, but I'll be waiting to hear good things from you. And we'll talk about the third annual next year. How's that?
That sounds great, Don.
All right. Well, thanks, Don.
Okay.
All right. You take care. Folks, we're going to take a little breather, and we'll be right back after this little break.
Sometimes there's no do-over.
Okay.
Some things you can't rewind. That's when an extra safety step could mean the difference between a close call and a call to 911. Simple steps save lives. Learn more at poolsafely.gov.
I got great news. Karen Cochran has been watching the show, and she tells me from Kenya, okay, that we can put a pin in our map for Kenya. So whenever you're ready, Justin, you can go over there later on and put a pin in. So Karen and company, good afternoon, I guess it is. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Another friend of mine is back in the studio, is Dana Corwin, and we're going to be talking about some important things about Alzheimer's and what's coming up here. So
Yeah.
welcome back.
Well, thank you. It's always good to be here. I'm always excited to come and see the crew here and chat. And what a nice surprise. I know Don and his wife Judy, and they're very involved in that festival. So please attend. I got to see the pre-workings of the festival last year, but couldn't attend during the day, so I'm looking forward to it this year. But yes, here's my little sign. For those of you who know me, I love props, and I'm here to really talk about the Walk to End Alzheimer's, which is coming up on October 5th at Point Gratiot Park in Dunkirk. And if anybody is on Facebook, and probably many of you have been to the park there on Lake Erie, it is absolutely beautiful.
It is.
I was looking to see if you had anything up, and it's hard to tell,
Yeah.
but I don't think so. Some of my friends on Facebook post the most beautiful sunrise and sunset pictures, and there's windsurfing and beach glass, and They've replanted some of the trees that I think they lost in a windstorm.
Yes.
A couple years back now, it seems. So I am here as the co-chair for the Walk to End Alzheimer's to invite you to come with us. And we are walking on October 5th. I always have to write down the time because I have to be there early. You don't want to be there as early as I do. But registration is at 10 o'clock, and then the walk kicks off at 11 o'clock with some announcements, and then we have this beautiful path to walk through the park. This year we're going to also be offering a little bit of a shorter distance, because I want to say it's about 2 miles to walk the normal path that we do, the historical route, but through feedback we've heard it would be great to have just a little shorter walkway. And one of the nicest things about the park there is it is so walkable. You've been there, right?
I played there.
That's right. You were with us a few years back. Oh, my memory. I was telling the staff and crew here this morning, I've just been back from a trip from Alaska. So coming back on a red eye in the middle of the night and then hitting the ground in New York and realizing that New York is really warm compared to Alaska, and then running back to work and getting things. So thanks for that reminder that you were there. So yeah, October 5th, right on Lake Erie. We would love to have different teams. Last time I checked, which it was yesterday morning, I believe we had about 34 teams. We'd love to have about 45 teams. So we invite you to come and make a team, and it's super, super easy. Google's a verb, right?
It can be.
So we need to Google the Walk to End Alzheimer's, or Walk to End ALZ, A-L-Z, Chautauqua, and you will come up right to the walk site. It's really easy to use the walk site. You'll see, do you want to walk or do you want to donate? We'd love you to do both. And you can easily create a team with your friends, your family, your work buddies, your church buddies, your soccer buddies, your whatever buddies, your musical buddies. But it's really important to me to come out and walk. And why is that? Because in my family, my mom passed away from Alzheimer's.
Oh boy.
And in that walk of her journey, you know, we had a lot of important things that happened. It really changed the trajectory of our family. Out of that experience, even though when my children were little, I had an idea of their strengths and weaknesses and really encouraged them to find a profession that they enjoyed, that they could spend time in, and that they could get fulfillment from. So I will happily brag, and they probably won't like that, but my older daughter is an LMSW, which means she's a social worker. She's a licensed social worker, and she actually works for the Alzheimer's Association.
Yes, she's been on the show.
And she's been on the show, Claire, and just super proud of what she does, and that she has a real passion for it because of her experiences. And she does a wonderful job. And then my middle daughter, Emily, is a registered nurse like myself, and she's very close to getting her nurse practitioner's license with a specialization in geriatrics. So again, just a heart for people and a heart for our older adults. So I'm very proud to offer her services out there to the community wherever she lands, because again, that came from caring for my mom and her experiences through her life. And then Sarah, my youngest, is at Gannon University, and she's in her 3rd year of her physical therapy program.
Wow.
So it's just interesting as we look back in caring for our family member, how this has really changed. And I've always worked in geriatrics. So registered nurse for 32 years. I've been at the Office for Aging Services for just under 17. And speaking of that, our work group has a walk team. So we have been a very large team historically. Kate Finch from our office, you've met her, and she's done a lot of great work for the walk and continues to support it. But most of our kind of staff members and crew members are on the team, and we feel very compelled to support this walk. So why? Why do we support the walk? One, we serve older adults. One, we know personally older adults. And really it's 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 people have been affected by dementias and Alzheimer's. So if even in this small group here, I have. Do you know somebody? Do you know somebody?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So the more we can bring awareness, it's so important. So I threw a couple pictures together, and I don't know if you have any out there. I'll look for a minute to see.
I got some.
Okay,
he's got
throw
it.
up any one of them, and I'll just start talking about them if you're able to. So this is a picture of myself and my mom,
Oh, wow.
Yvonne.
I didn't know that was your mother when you
Yeah,
sent it. Oh.
that's my mom. And this was a time when she'd come to live in New York State. We moved here about 18 years ago, and my mom came about 12 years ago. She's since been gone about 7 years now. But we are a caregiver. We were caregivers to her. And one of the most important reasons I walk is that lady right there.
Yeah.
Super important, super fantastic, could do anything.
What did she do for a living?
She was a preschool teacher. Well,
Wow, when you say preschool, everybody's, oh,
I know.
that's a lot of work. It's like corralling cats every day.
Yeah. Early on in her career, when she was first married, she was a draftswoman for the C&P Telephone Company.
Oh, wow.
So, it's funny how your parents and your family and your friends influence you. When I was in high school, I took mechanical drawing for a number of years because of my mom.
Sure.
And so I love to draft, and I love to draw things out. But that was a time, when women didn't really work in that profession.
That is correct.
So, she did some really big work for that company. And then, of course, she had her family and raised her families. And she was an excellent mom, just did a wonderful job and connected with her church and became a preschool teacher. Oh, wow. We say she specialized in 4-year-olds. She taught 4-year-olds for about 35 years. Wow. And when she got to the point where she was teaching the grandchildren of the people that I went to school with, she said, I think it's time to retire. Yeah. But she retired from teaching, but she really didn't retire from work. She became the secretary of our church.
Of course she did.
In Maryland. We're talking like 800, 900 people, so a very large church. So over the years, when we had moved here to New York, still talking to her every day, still seeing her on a regular basis. But I started to understand from the conversation that things were just a little amiss. Things weren't quite adding up. Things that she did always weren't being done. A little anxiety, a little paranoia.
All right, tell me, when you said things that she used to do didn't get done, give me an example, because I think people hear,
like, how do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know
so
when
it's
you're hitting that precipice?
I'm sitting here and going what do you mean by that?
Yeah. So my mom was a very independent woman, had a lot of skills, and was never afraid to learn something new.
Cool.
So she could lay a brick walkway, she could rewire a lamp,
Wow.
She could do a lot
That's
of things.
cool.
Very talented. So when I started to hear little things about things happening around the house, and I heard that she told me she hadn't been to church several weeks in a row.
There you go.
And I started to say, what's going on? Why haven't you been to church? Why haven't you been doing these things? It became clear when she told me I had a fall. I had a fall and I fell and hit my face and I looked like a raccoon. So I'm like, you had a fall. What's going on with that? Because we were talking earlier about baby boomers aging and housing and all these things. I know the layout of the house, so very concerned about that. And then there was a few driving incidents. I'd come home and I would see scrapes and bumps on the car, or I would see the car pulled all the way up to the front of the house, which was super unusual. So just some different things. She was withdrawing from her usual social circles. She was having trouble making change. She was feeling lost.
Okay.
And so she actually used to drive to New York here to visit our family. And on the last occasion she drove, now I grew up in Rockville, Maryland, and going home along the Pennsylvania Turnpike, there is a sign that says Washington, but it means Pennsylvania.
Right.
And Rockville, Maryland is outside of Washington, D.C.
Right.
She saw that sign and went the wrong way. Yeah, went the wrong way.
How old was she at that point, you think?
She was about 66, 67.
That's pretty young.
That is.
You know,
It is.
that
Maybe
wa-
a little bit older. My memory
Well,
sometimes comes
that
into
was
question.
one of the questions I was going to ask, and I think I've asked it before, but people always say Alzheimer's is for old timers, and 66 is pretty young. I mean, so
and we're
I've heard.
finding more and more early onset dementia and Alzheimer's. I'm hoping that's because more of an awareness,
Yes.
less of a stigma. You know,
Better diagnosis.
better diagnoses, better communication. People are asking questions, sharing information, and that's the real important part about the walk. If you find yourself in a situation and you think you're the only one, it's a scary place to be. It's a nerve-wracking place to be. But imagine if you could connect with other people experiencing or have experienced the same thing. So you start to share and you start to become part of a community. And that's why we walk.
You see a lot of head nodding. A lot of people go, I know what you mean.
Exactly, exactly. I've got on my arm here, I don't know where else to put them, but some of the things that the Walk to End Alzheimer's does is incentivize you to walk. First of all, when you create a team and you raise $100, you get a walk t-shirt.
Oh, nice.
So, and that lists all the sponsors on there. This one I have is for sale. This was a nod to the Buffalo Bills with their colors.
Nice.
And it was popular up in Buffalo. Of course, we have the Western New York Alzheimer's Association, which serves the 8 counties of Western New York. And they have walks all over. I was just looking at their walk list, and my goodness, Orleans County is September 7th, Genesee and Wyoming is the 14th, Niagara the 21st, Buffalo the 28th, and then we are October 5th. And then, believe it or not, the southern tier, Olean, is also October 5th, so they're going to be busy that day.
So obviously, this is really something that people are putting a spotlight on and talking more and more about. And okay, so just because I like to talk about history, where did the word Alzheimer come from? Is it a doctor's name?
It was a doctor's name who discovered this situation clinically of symptoms and other things that led to this kind of categorization of dementia, and his was Dr. Alzheimer's.
Now, is Alzheimer's under dementia, or is dementia under Alzheimer's? How does that work?
Dementia is an umbrella of symptoms and can be many different things, but Alzheimer's is a diagnosis. Frontal temporal dementia is a diagnosis. Lewy body dementia is a diagnosis. So people can have dementia. You know, we used to call it all kinds of things, senile, just different things
Plugged arteries
that weren't very conducive to making people feel comfortable. So our job at the Walk is really, we're getting together to have a sense of community, to share with each other and to understand each other's situation, because that brings comfort. When you know somebody else is dealing with the same thing that you've dealt with or that you're going to deal with, you know, I kind of liken it to having a baby. And
okay.
Maybe you guys can't relate to that, but think about it. Think about it. A first-time mom, they're always worried. They're like, I can't do this. I can't do this. This is not going to. But I used to think to myself, millions and millions of women have had babies. And the more you connect with other people for millions of years, and you can do this. And, you know, similarly, if you're connecting with other people that have experienced the disease either in their family or as a caregiver or a support person, you can do this because it gives you a sense of collectiveness.
Okay.
So the blue flower, and when you come to the Walk on the day, you've probably seen something akin to this.
Yes, I have.
With the different flowers. We have what's called a promise garden. And the promise garden is a way to really, is a way to really visually represent who's there at the Walk.
Okay.
So with our, and I don't want to look because I always forget, our blue is for people living with dementia attending the Walk.
Ooh.
And I still have the blue flower that my mom did. So for the very first time when she walked and was still very aware of what was happening, but she knew things were happening, she chose a blue flower to signify, you know, her telling the world, hey, here I am, and I exist, and I count, and I'm struggling. So on hers, she wrote, I have hope. And then yellow is support, and orange is caregiver. And if I got that backwards, you guys will bear with me.
We trust you.
And then this year, I got the very first one.
Oh, wow.
This is a bigger one, so I couldn't put it up there. This is in support of folks that have passed away from Alzheimer's. So I got a big pin this year.
Okay,
as
so
representing.
is Alzheimer's a disease?
It is. It is.
And people are watching right now says, I don't want to catch that disease, so what do I got to do?
Well, it's not a disease you catch.
Oh.
It's not contagious. If I was to reach out and touch you, you wouldn't get it. It is a myriad of symptoms that over time can cause problems in the body. And, you know, when you start to have difficulty with memory, and that, you know, I sometimes have difficulty with memory. You probably have, and you probably
I don't want to talk about it.
We don't want to talk about it. Because when we're aware of it, it makes us nervous, right?
Oh, yeah.
But when I'm talking to people, I say, you know, I'm not talking about where did I put my glasses, you know, kind of thing. I'm talking about you're holding your keys and you can't remember what they're for. I'm talking about holding a toothbrush and not knowing how to use it.
Yeah.
Those are memory impairments that are interrupting your activities of daily life. But when you start to have difficulties with memory, or with time, or with counting and math, or with remembering how to do things, or getting lost, those are the times when you really want to reach out to your doctor, your practitioner, and talk about your concerns so that they can do some testing. There's been some long standing testing called the mini mental and the slum test and some others, but basically it's testing your ability to follow reason, follow directions, and executive function
All right.
thinking.
So people, again, they're watching, they might say, all right, so we should either go to our primary doctor or get our family member to go to primary doctor, and they have these things that it can screen you?
They have those things. And if you have any concerns, you've got this great group called the Alzheimer's Association. This is the walk one, so you don't really have to focus in on that one. But their job is really to offer services to our community, things like care consultations. So you can meet with a specially trained social worker that can kind of get an idea of what you've been struggling with and give you information and assistance and the next steps to take.
Okay,
or
I'm
things to
living in
look up.
rural Chautauqua County, and
Me too.
I'm using the example.
No, I know, I'm
Pretend
teasing.
I'm talking about somebody who lives in rural. We all live in rural, except for the two cities. You're living in rural Chautauqua County, and there's a concern, either yourself or somebody in your family. How do you get a hold of these people?
You can call them at 716
Yes, ma'am.
626-0600.
0600. So 626-0600.
Yep, that's right off their thing. And somewhere in here, we also have a 24-hour, I say we because, I'm kind of with them, the 24/7 hotline or helpline, I like to say. This is a phone call that you can make that is staffed by specially trained, licensed social workers to kind of help you work through what's happening right now. When I talk to caregivers in our community, and I say, if you're struggling at a particular moment, because caring for someone with Alzheimer's, particularly the later stages, can be really difficult and trying. You can call this number and kind of be talked down, so to speak. When your fear is high, when your anxiety is high, when your anger is high, because those are all real things that you deal with in caring for someone, you can call this number 24 hours a day. So a lot of times I'll put it in their cell phone and just say, if you run into a situation where you need to talk to someone, this is your lifeline.
And you're going to give it to us. I'm ready to write it down.
1-800.
Oh, it's a 100 number. Okay.
272 3900.
All right, for those listening on the radio, let's give it to them one more time.
800-272-3900. I said it differently that way.
That's all right.
I'm testing your memory.
All right, so we always use the New York State Connects number.
Right.
Is that helpful to this?
Absolutely, locally.
So Jeff wants to pop that up. He's ready to push
He's
that
telling
button.
you
Go
in
ahead,
his ear.
Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a great resource here in the Chautauqua County Office for Aging Services, and we have the New York Connects helpline, 716-753-4582. And that's really one number you can call to get information about anything in the community with regards to aging or caregiving or health and wellness or programs and benefits and services. So they can, give you that number, the 800 number, that's the 24/7 helpline. They can tell you about local programming through the Alzheimer's Association of Western New York, including things like care consultations. You mentioned if someone lives in a rural part of our county, the Office for Aging Services has made their space available so that if that person can come to our offices and the Alzheimer's Association can send someone to Chautauqua County, we can have a one-on-one and we give them space to do that.
Excellent.
And so that's not a problem at all. There's all kinds of programming offering through the Alzheimer's Association, including what they call early stage programming, and I'm looking right at their sheet here. It's specially designed programming for people in the early stages of Alzheimer's or other dementias, and it allows individuals to continue their independence, learn about memory loss, spend time with people who are in the same situation, and also do some brain exercising, lifting those weights.
So how many stages generally are there to this?
Early, middle, late are
3?
generally accepted. You might see different things in different literatures, but we try to keep it simple, the KISS method.
Okay, yeah. So people right now may be saying, oh my, this is kind of scary. What's the hope in all this? I mean,
The hope is that there are some new treatments.
okay, like
I
what?
think the two drugs, and I'm sorry, I don't have
It
them
doesn't
written
matter.
down, but there are
None of us will remember.
two new drugs that have been approved and are starting to come into use. I don't know if they're in use here in the county yet,
Right.
but there is no cure at this point. So these drugs are not a cure. They can only be used during certain periods of the disease.
Okay.
So, you know, there's a little bit of confusion about that. So the Alzheimer's Association is doing a lot of education around that. But there are two new drugs. They can say them lovely. And these drugs are generally used in the earlier part of the disease process.
So what does the drug do?
The drug's process is to try to remove some of those plaques and tangles from the brain.
All right.
That's very general speaking,
So
but
when
I
you
think
say
that's
plaque, basically it's like painting nerves endings and stuff with that coating, right? Is that plaque?
yeah. I think
And then-
that's a fair
So
assessment. keeping
let's
it
just think,
KISS
everybody,
method.
that you got wires in your brain and there's synapses where they connect here. Now, if you do anything to get in the way of that connection, that's when memory starts going, or
you weaken that
why
nerve.
did I do that again? And so this plaque gets on there. So how do you stop the plaque?
Diet, exercise, healthy living, stop smoking. You know, there are things that you are in charge of and there are things you are not in charge of, right? We can't change our ethnicity. We can't change our
Gender.
sex born at birth. We can change smoking. We can do exercise. We can keep our bodies healthy so that we have low blood pressure, that we don't have a lot of fat in our diet and, you know, develop atherosclerosis and other things. So, you know, we do have some things in our control.
So you
Staying hydrated.
So what you're saying, those are contributing factors?
Those are contributing factors. You know, some of the types of Alzheimer's are when we have a decrease in the blood flow in the brain.
Interesting.
I know.
So,
Lots more information out there. And what we really want people to understand is that the walk contributes, fundraises for these services in our communities. And so it's important that we do the work of walking to end Alzheimer's on an annual basis, because it raises money for us to then continue to work. One of the interesting things that I found here, and I'm going to peek.
go ahead.
There is I'll say a subset of the Alzheimer's Association called AIM, which is Alzheimer's Impact Movement,
Okay.
AIM. And I found this piece when I was going through some of the papers, and it says Alzheimer's at the county level in Western New York. So this is where they've drilled down the statistics to say what's happening in the 8 counties of Western New York. First, they say that New York State has the second highest rate of Alzheimer's disease in those 65 and older in the nation.
What?
Now, I don't know who's first, so don't ask me that, but New York is second highest rate. And then they go through and say, okay, and all the people over 65 in the 8 counties that our group serves,
Oh, no.
you know, we're all about equal. Erie County's a little bit higher, and then it looks like maybe Genesee, Niagara, and Chautauqua. So just to give you an example, this is the 8 counties of Western New York. And why is it attached to that AIM, that Alzheimer's Impact Movement? This is really the advocacy part of the Alzheimer's Association. And you can see the little picture down here of, you know, I'm trying to think, is that the White House or something in DC? But the group that you could join, called AIM, the Alzheimer's Impact Movement, is learning about the advocacy. So, you know, when people go down to the state capitol and they rally for, you know, a
Right.
certain cause,
Right.
this is the part of the Alzheimer's Association nationally that does this. So if you're really involved and passionate about, you know, advocacy and you want to get involved, this is a great way to join ranks with the
So
Alzheimer's
it's really
Association.
getting your voice out there for
Absolutely.
funding and stuff.
Absolutely.
All right, so inquiring minds, of course, want to know, why would one county be higher than the other?
That's a good question. I
Thank you.
don't have the statistics behind it. You know, there's always, again, health indices involved in that. So, you know, if Chautauqua County has a higher incidence of smoking or hypertension or, you know, obesity, is a huge player nowadays in a lot of diseases. So when you look across this area, all pretty easy or all pretty much the same, running about 9 to 11% of the population.
That's a lot of peoples.
It is. And if you've probably had the Department of Health on here before, or some of the local physicians that might have been able to talk about the different health challenges that come from living around a lake and living in areas where they might use pesticides and farming and different things. So
where do we fall nationwide? Do you have a feel for that for our county, for our area here? So number 2 in New York State's number 2, so we must be pretty high then, because we're part of New York State.
Absolutely.
Where do we fall, Chautauqua County in New York State?
That I don't have, because they only gave me I only pulled the information for the Western
region.
New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
But it kind of boils down to, we like you to know why we walk. We walk for personal reasons, we walk for professional reasons. If you have a talent that you can give to the walk, if you're good at music or greeting people or filing papers or just being an excited person that kind of revs up the crowd, we'd love to work with you. Every year when we do the walk, we try to do things that will, make a nice memory of the walk so people want to come back and join us every year. Last year, I think we raised $43,000.
what?
Yeah,
$43,000?
we did a wonderful job.
That's a lot of money.
We busted our goal by, I think, about $3,000. And so this year we have a higher goal to meet.
Of course you do.
Absolutely. When they know you can break one goal, they're going to give you another goal to work towards. So again, getting people out there, getting them involved. We usually have the Girl Scouts come out and do face painting. We have usually Purina comes and does a really cool pet tent where they're giving away cat treats and dog biscuits and things like that. And then we have a couple different vendors from the community there. And of course the Alzheimer's Association staff is all present there to give more information and different things so that people can be armed with information. There's lots of education opportunities available for people. And even if you have a passion to help people, you can come be a volunteer, and the Alzheimer's Association will train you to lead courses in your community, which is great. We have a couple support groups in the community, some that have people, caregivers caring for people. I don't know that there's an early onset here, but with the advent of virtual training, now you can get on Zoom or any other platform and have some training as well. But the important thing is that we get people out every year, that we offer them, lose my voice, we offer them the opportunity to become part of a community. We offer understanding, we offer compassion, and we offer kind of a brother and sisterhood in this disease. Yeah. And that's really important.
You mentioned the word caregiver. Who are the caregivers usually in these situations? Or is there not a usual?
Oh, they could be anything. Typically, they're the wife or the adult child or the adult female in the group. So like myself, I'm the first daughter, although all of my brothers and sisters stepped up to participate, including my own family. But it could be your neighbor. Yeah. It could be your neighbor that's checking
just watching
in with
out.
you.
Yeah.
Exactly. One of the things that we're working on in my other job at the Office for Aging Services is really getting people to understand that they are caregivers. Because a lot of people say, well, I'm their daughter, I'm doing my job. Yeah. But you're doing that, and we understand, but it makes you a caregiver. Yeah. If you're a neighbor, mowing someone's lawn and bringing them the mail and checking to make sure they're eating, guess what? You're a caregiver. You're a caregiver.
The reason why I asked that question is because a lot of people that are the caregivers, they're pretty tired, they're pretty worn out.
Absolutely.
And so where would they get help?
They could get help through the Alzheimer's Association by reaching out to them and getting more information. They can call the local area agency on aging right here in Mayville, the Office for Aging Services, New York Connects, and they can get information. And we encourage people to plan and reach out and find out what's available. down in Westfield at the United Methodist Church, there is a day social program that meets, I believe it's just once a month, and Gail will get me because I can't remember what day, but we have that information at the
You
Office
can
for
always
Aging
send it in
Services.
to me, and I can
Yep.
announce it, sure.
And that's an opportunity for the caregiver and the person living in the community to share time together, having lunch and being entertained and having crafts. So that's something that's available. We have a few social adult day providers in the community that can not only offer socialization, supervision, and oversight, but possibly a break to the caregiver. One of the pictures that we put up early of my mom, she was at the Chautauqua Adult Day Center because I was a working caregiver. So not only did I provide caregiving services, but I worked a full-time job, and I was raising 3 children and married and serving at church and doing everything else that we do in our lives, right? So caregivers can be very stressed. So understanding what's available to you is important.
So I've known people that have been the caregiver primary, and they're worn out, and they say, well, I would love to go on a vacation, but I can't. Is there any respite?
There is something, through the Office for Aging Services and the Alzheimer's Association of Western New York, we have a grant with the Department of Health at the state level, and they provide some services, some introduction services through our caregiver support program at the Office for Aging Services. So again, referring you back to that New York Connects program or to the Alzheimer's Association of Western New York, we recently have been able to offer short, up to 7-day respites overnight. Now, it's not an unlimited pot of money, much like everything else, but it is an opportunity. So if you are a caregiver, I really encourage you to reach out to the Alzheimer's Association, who can point you to this information, or to the Office for Aging Services New York Connects. Again, we can connect you with our caregiver program. We have some services like Social Adult Day, emergency buttons.
Okay, I'm gonna talk here while, you know what you can do is just hold it from here on out. Okay, we have equipment failure sometimes here, so just hold it like a little microphone, and we've only got a couple minutes left, Dan, so don't worry about that.
As long as I didn't
There you go.
hurt anybody's
You didn't hurt
ears during that.
All is well. It was only my ear.
Yeah, sorry. So yes, there are services for caregivers. There is some limited overnight respite available. There is day respite, Monday through Friday. There are different programs and services, and these all come from the Walk to End Alzheimer's. The fundraising that we do locally is super important. It allows us to continue this. It allows us to care for people in community, which is where they want to be. So I hope that all of you will come see us on October 5th at 10 a.m. You do have to register for the event. There's some logistical pieces that have to be met. We have a great day of walking that beautiful park in Dunkirk and getting together as a community, having some fun, sharing some memories, because when I sent that picture over of my mom and I said, it's grainy, but I'm sending it to you for a reason. And the reason is we want to retain our memories. This is a grainy picture, but it is so important to me because this is why I walk for the Walk to End Alzheimer's, and this is why I volunteer, and my whole family volunteers. So, we don't want to forget about our people. We want to have an opportunity to reminisce and to rejoice in people that have passed, and we want to offer support and encouragement and information and services and camaraderie for the people that are caregivers or living with the disease right now. And we want to offer our understanding and our support to people living with the disease that will be there. It's pretty impactful to talk to someone who knows that they have a memory impairment or a cognitive impairment, and they are struggling to make sense of it and to continue their lives. Super important.
Dana, thanks for coming on the show as always. And you're such an easy guest to have because I just sit back and listen. So one more time, 716-626-0600. And then we have a hotline, helpline is 1-800-272-3900. So
perfect.
Good luck to your walk, and
yes, come and see us.
I got it on my calendar, so who knows,
Excellent.
we may show up.
Love to
All right,
see
folks,
everybody.
remember this show is on YouTube forever and ever, hopefully, and if you want to go back and get the numbers or whatever, please do. And please share this with family members because this is an important issue within families and it can be a huge help to you, all of you. Well, happy almost September. Goodbye, August. We'll see you next month right here at 9 o'clock on Access Chautauqua, Spectrum 1301, and WRFA 107.9, low power to people at Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. Take care and enjoy your Labor Day weekend. Bye-bye now.